How am I going to review this game? I love it. I love the presentation. But there's no narrative. There's no sense of urgency. There's nothing to work with. It's just an outer space dungeon crawler and a wonky little spaceship. How do I review a game where you spend the majority of it staring at a puny little shuttlecraft? Wait. I got it.
This evening we have a 1990... Oh, not a car!
What is this? This isn't a car. It's not even a terrestrial vehicle. The Nippon Racing Jet Pod is a performance package for the standard Nippon Jet Pod. It was created to help Nippon... I can't pronounce this. Created to help the Nippon concern take advantage of the growing popularity of Spacecross, the Nippon Racing Jet Pod had a successful run throughout the 90s until Supreme Prefect Trump enacted protectionist legislation designed to make intergalactic imports less competitive in the Milky Way marketplace.
Kessel Run Day, bro. Bro, you gonna get some space buoys out? Bro, Kessel Run Day, bro. Parsecs, bro. Quadrants, bro.
12,000 credit impulse calibration, Padawan! This jet pod belongs to Solar Jetman. He's big into interstellar salvage these days ever since he crashed his golden warp ship coming out of rockets in Raktajino. The insurance company dicked him around on the settlement and now he's trying to rebuild it from scratch. Solar decided that his base model Toyota Space Corolla just wasn't up to the task of hauling around space garbage. Between the windy airlock control, the lack of intermittent disruptors, and the fact that the exhaust port is on its 4th repair job, it really wasn't that great for salvage work. As he made for Corso Quiro, a dealership on that side of the asteroid belt had some Nippon Racing jet pods in stock, as well as an Alfa Romeo Space Giulia. The Space Giulia's selling point was that it could warp between wormholes, but given that Alfa developed the pod in 2.5 years, they hadn't worked out all the bugs as of yet, and its penchant for getting lodged in the middle of planets is well documented. Rare. Rare. Very rare.
No low ballers. I know what I have.
The pod is shielded by a Nashin Stellar Dynamics force field module that once again Solar found as salvage. The domestic market jet pods technically can't have these as they're restricted to law enforcement, which admittedly is something of a baffling decision, considering that these things come with disruptors as standard equipment. Hull plating on these things is virtually non-existent, so if he eats a shot while towing a piece of equipment, it's back to home base to replicate another jet pod. Solar swapped in an LS motor he found on the surface of Planet 2, and he's grateful in retrospect that he did, because the gravitational pull of some of the later planets he'll visit was too much for the stock engine to handle. Of course, the biggest question someone would have for Solar is why is he using a performance compact for salvage work? Well, it dates back to about 40 years ago when scientists discovered how to penetrate the second dimension. The long and short of it is by crossing back to the second dimension, explorers of K-class planets could access areas that a Ford F-950 all-atmosphere jet truck could not. The compact size of the pod, along with the boost in power, allows Solar to penetrate deep into planets and navigate the narrow corridors. The jet pods are modular and accept upgrades well, so you can, the box set 10 horsepower, your way to a more agile ride. Across shuttles, the concept is fairly standard. One disruptor upgrade, one secondary weapon, and one performance mod. One of the big features of the Nippon... It's such a struggle for me just to say that word. Biggest feature of the Nippon Racing Jet Pod is that it can tow wormholes around. Items can be towed
to these wormholes to warp them back to base.
If there was a man I could dream of, I'd dream about a dream come true.
Okay, that's new. 1990 Nippon Racing Jet Pod, the official shuttlecraft of what's the point in going out if we're just gonna die anyway.
I told you I don't get Doctor Who references in front of the Time Lord video I posted. Feel sorry for me.
Solar Jetman's makeshift solution with the jet pod isn't without its downsides. For example, when he's issued a new space-time continuum code after arriving at a new planet, it won't factor in any mods he owned prior, but it will factor in how many space bucks he has. So if he knows he's done for the day, he needs to be cognizant of that fact and not buy anything, lest he land on Mipplzer out of money and out of mods. In addition, while the long-range sensor module in the pod does a great job of showing Jetman where space treasure can be located, the short-range sensors aren't as great at detecting enemies, and very often they can get a draw on the pod before they enter visual range.
Oh no, this calls for the adult jelly beans. Red pills and blue pills are all brown pills in the end.
After Jetman retrieves each planet's warp ship piece, he gets to go to a bonus dimension where he can make a significant amount of credits if he collects 10 crystals before the dimension collapses. He's found that he actually has better odds of success if he ditches the pod and does it on foot, since he has far better directional control with his jetpack. In the ongoing legal matter of journey versus destination as it pertains to Mr. Jetman's struggle, he will find at the end, when he finally gets a hold of all those shiny MacGuffins and rebuilds his precious golden warp ship, that he'll have a planet-sized case of buyer's remorse. In an Arthur C. Clarke superiority kind of way, he spent all this time trying to jury-rig a sexier space weapon when the jet pod he's using would have already gotten the job done by now. The exponential field sounded good on paper, and the golden warp ship does too, but they both had no time to put them into practice, and Solar's stuck with a boat that looks like a low-level WoW character, shoots in only one direction, and handles like Harold Slavinsky trying to catch a 6 a.m. flight after using the company expense account to spread the business.
I don't know what this Tribble's doing here. My wife's been using the pod.
And truly the journey, a few bumps notwithstanding, was a lot of fun. It's not for everyone, but I had a great time driving the pod and going searching for hidden treasure. Sure, you could buy an RH-119 and go bombing around the galaxy looking for bad guys to shoot, but there's something relaxing and comforting about trudging through a planet looking for shiny objects in a planet that isn't procedurally generated. We're all looking for something in life. When it comes to Solar Jetman's journey, I've seen what awaits him at the destination. You almost hope his actual journey never ends.